Thank you, Nat. I'm seeing a very big picture of you, Nat, not me. Never mind, I'm going to start. So yes, I'm Sharleen Greer, and thank you for that lovely bio, Nat. So yes, last year, it was only 3 months ago, I spoke on Herstory Summit, and it was quite impactful. So the first thing I want to say to all you brave speakers is just be open to the possibilities of where you know, upping your brave and speaking today, where that may lead. So for me, it was having a really big insight. And it really only came yesterday when I started writing some notes about what I was going to talk about today. I thought I would talk on midlife, my niche, but as I started writing, a whole kind of another story came out of me. I think it's like what Melissa Mills said this morning about a sixth sense. It just flowed. So I'm going to tell you that story. It's a different story that I thought. I've taken lots of notes, so I will probably be looking at my notes because it's fairly a new story. So excuse me for that. But it was only in December that I'd spent a day and a half listening to all these amazing, brave speakers. And they were mostly women who had come through trials and tragedies, and yet they were living rich lives. They really had embraced determination, sacrifice, bravery, fortitude, resilience, forgiveness, love, and grace. There was also women talking about their legacy and the impact they were having in the world. So I felt really full, and you know, it was an action-packed couple of days, as it is today. So it was my time to speak, and I spoke on midlife, my niche. I weaved my story throughout, and I felt I'd done a fairly good job. So why, at the end of that story, did I feel blah? Did I feel flat? And it kind of occurred to me that my story was pretty ordinary. And then it occurred to me that actually my life had been pretty ordinary. So I've been sitting with this, processing it over the last 3 months. So it's quite, you know, I believe in synchronicities that I'm here today actually telling you about what had happened. So I was born in the late 50s in a small South Island town, a seaside port. I was a lower to middle white class person. I had 5 siblings, a mum and a dad who were quite normal. They brought us up the best that they could with the social and cultural norms that were there at the time. My teenage years were a bit of a blur. It seemed to be a lot of shame around, and certainly body image and sexuality wasn't talked about. So it's not surprising I went from being the skinny girl to the overweight girl as a teenager. I left school early, and my sister had chosen hairdressing, so I chose nursing. We didn't have a lot of choices back then. My early adult years were spent feeling numbed out by alcohol and drugs. I then went overseas for a couple of years. I came back, and all my nursing friends had found life partners and were having babies. So I thought, yeah, why shouldn't I? So I went on and had babies. Mothering was fairly normal. I loved it, and it had its challenges. So as you all well know. When the kids started leaving home, I was like, what next? So I'd done a life coaching course. So I decided to work with midlife women. I felt excited about this. But when I Googled it, I found there were quite a few midlife coaches out there learning, walking beside women who are learning to navigate their middle years. So this felt kind of ordinary and normal as well. So I felt like 3 months ago when I told my story that it was pretty mediocre and it wasn't that impactful. And this is because my inner critic, Doris Dump, had decided to come and visit me. So there was comparisonitis, there was perfectionist, and there was a big dose of imposter syndrome. So an old untrue story was going around in my head that girls should be pretty, they should be well behaved, and they should not be seen and certainly not heard. So over these last 3 months, as I said at the beginning, something has shifted and something quite profound. So I just want to read you 2 or 3 quotes to give you an idea of what I've been going through. While it takes courage to achieve greatness, it takes more courage to find fulfillment in the ordinary. The greatest truths are the simplest. Profound insights lurk in everyday occurrences. Open to ways of seeing by being aware that in the ordinary lies the extraordinary. And Tony Robbins said, there is a reason that the word extraordinary is just ordinary with extra tacked onto it. Just start doing something extra. So my middle years have been very much about rewriting my story and changing the narrative around midlife. I can now look back at my life and see the beauty and the gifts and the blessings that my life was. So let me briefly tell you the real story about my ordinary life. Look at all the people going down to the South Island now with COVID, and they're all just being wowed by the scenery and the down-to-earth nature of the people. So how lucky was I to be brought up in the South Island? I loved growing up with 5 siblings. You were never alone or lonely, and there was always someone to play with. And now when we get together, we reminisce and laugh about our childhood. I'm so grateful that my mum is alive and that I had the honour to be an advocate and a carer for my father before he passed. And those everyday moments of sitting on the couch with him, watching TV and watching my dogs cuddle up to them, they are memories that I cherish every day. As a teenager, I got second in the Miss Legs competition at the whole of Otago Girls High School. And I don't know why, but this gives me a lot of delight. I think it's probably because I have suffered with body image issues all my life. I did a lot of partying with my nursing friends and I loved it. It kind of gave me a sense of community and sisterhood. And it's something that I love today. I love meeting with groups of women like we are today and connecting and having deep conversations. It gives me so much pleasure and so much joy. Now, instinctively, as I said, I chose nursing. And this was an enormous game changer for me. I realised early on that the illness model wasn't for me. And so everything I have done throughout my life has been around has been working in the wellness arena. Trusting my instincts throughout my life has given me huge rewards. So when I heard a voice saying go to Australia, I did. And then I spent 2 years traveling on my own through Southeast Asia. And it was from here that I think I learned, perhaps my childhood as well, but I learned a lot about those qualities I talked earlier about courage and resistance and taking risks, those sorts of things. Also, when I travelled through Asia, I discovered ancient medicine. And so I came back to New Zealand and I did a 3-year naturopathy diploma. And I just feel so fortunate that today I work with traditional medicine of essential oils in my business. As I said, my instincts have never let me down. And I chose an amazing man to have children with. Everyone comments on what a great father he is. He has also taught me a lot about play. He loves the sea as his happy place, so he is always out. You name it, he's doing it. Windsurfing, surfing, swimming, kayaking, windsurfing, and even now he's out on a 10-day yachting trip in his bubble with his mates. So he has provided me with an amazing lifestyle. We live by the sea, and for the last 27 years, every day I look out and I see that sea, and it just gives me a moment to breathe, to be grateful, and to simply be. How blessed do I feel to have 4 daughters, and I had them all at home. Like I saw an episiotomy given to a woman at 17, and I knew then I would never put myself in that position Now, excuse the pun, because I'm talking of the stirrup position. So Katie, my oldest, she was at all of her sisters' births. She insisted, and she now works with newborn babies. So that's not surprising for me. Now, this is top secret information. You were the first to hear this. She is about to have a baby. I'm still processing that one, but I feel so ecstatic to be a first-time grandmother. It's like getting, people talking about their dogs, and you don't have a dog and you don't get it until you get one. I have spent the last couple of years with all my friends showing me pictures of their grandchildren and their little baby granddaughters, and I thought, wow, they look cool, but now I get it. Yeah, so that's something that I feel internally grateful for. I could tell lots of heartfelt stories about my children, as I know you all can, so I know you'll be getting the picture here. Being a midlife woman has been a privilege. I want to thank my four mothers who fought and sacrificed for our rights. And I also want to acknowledge that all of us know friends who will never get to midlife. So this is part of my motivation to live an extraordinary and rich life. So I kind of realized yesterday when I was writing the story that I have created a garment for living an extraordinary life, and I want to share that with you. So I have always loved crocheting and making something extraordinary out of pieces of wool, and this has become my metaphor for life. So believe me, over the years, there has been lots of tangles and knots and messes and UFOs, unfinished objects. But working through all of this, I realise now that I have created an exquisite and beautiful garment that I can adorn myself with. So let's see if any of these qualities from this garment resonate with you and will hopefully help you live an extraordinary life every day. So let's start with some blue wool. And the blue wool for me represents mindset. So you all heard how Doris dumped all over me. And believe me, today I have told her to go and take a walk, pack her bags and take a hike. So 4 of the things that have really helped me get a positive mindset is gratitude, nature. Just looking at a flower, isn't it incredible? It's extraordinary. Nature blows me away. Creativity, as I said, has also been something that's helped me stay in a positive mindset. And Doris and I, we can now sit at night and crochet together and have cups of tea, and we hardly bicker. And then there's also my love of words. And it used to be, if someone said to me, how are you feeling? I would say, good. And then I turned up the volume a little bit and I started saying, I feel great. Now that volume is on 10. So if someone says to me, how are you doing? I say, I am amazing. I am excited. I am successful. I am fabulous. And I am extraordinary. And if someone says to me, gosh, you're so busy, I say, no, I'm not. I'm living a full and rich life. So then I had some green wool for growth. And I used to think ordinary was boring, unfulfilling, mundane, and something to fear. And extraordinary was something that would bring me an amazing life. And it was pretty elusive. It was pretty out there in the green yonder. How wrong I was. And as I get older, the ordinary days where I can tap into stillness and quietness without all that noise, that brings me immense joy and peace. So now I change to orange wool, and this reminds me to be myself. I spent a lifetime of trying to be liked and trying to be different. Mum had 5 kids under 5, so trying to get individual time was really, really hard. I would get sick often and do rebellious things. And I think that's probably why I am one of the siblings, the only sibling, that has not settled in my little hometown. I add in some yellow for choice. Society expects us to be successful and ambitious. And I've collected quite a few diplomas over my life, but there was always this should, that I should go to college and get a degree. Dad would often ask my three brothers what they wanted to be when they grew up. He didn't ask us girls because, well, it was a given that we were going to be homemakers and mothers. I'm so grateful that my rebellious nature has given me a different path than my mother. And I'm also very grateful that my children have a lot more choices. I love purple, so let's use this for feelings. Let's use this for vulnerability. I loved Donna's talk on vulnerability. Throughout my middle years, I've let go of a lot of the masks I learned to wear. I gave up drinking 4 years ago, and I have got a lot better at not using food to stuff those feelings down. I still have a bit of a chocolate addiction though. I am now in touch, so much more in touch with my feelings and my vulnerability. Now, I'm not saying it's easy, it's hard, but it was also hard before, holding all that tension in my body. So at least now being real and authentic brings me joy and fulfillment. Lastly, I'm a bit of a magpie, so I bring in some gold thread, which represents spirituality. Gosh, I can't wait to be doing this talk on an in-person, and I can be very visual with my fabrics and my wools. So to me, gold means spirituality. And by this, I mean I try and live a life of intention and awareness. I try not to see ordinary and extraordinary as two different things, and I try and have a foot in each arena. Now, as I said earlier, I'm a lover of words. So I've been Googling extraordinary, and I've been Googling words like wonder and amazement and awe. And I found something out that, yes, we all have awesome experiences, and we also have awful experiences. And do you know, awful used to mean that, let me get this right, is we should be full with a sense of awe. Awful. So I'm not sure how we got this so wrong, but I suspect it is because ordinary is now such a loaded word and it is seen as boring and dull. So going forward, and I invite you to do this too, I am committed to seeing every day the extraordinary in the ordinary, to be a lover of pleasure and play, and to look for joy jolts every day. So lastly, as I said to begin with, be open to the amazing experiences that may come from you sharing your story today. And Gertrude, I thank you for giving me this privilege.